Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a powerful voice note from Silindile, a listener, on 7-2's Africa Melane show. His words have struck a chord with thousands of South Africans, and I think you'll see why. The ANC wants you to sit through another national dialogue, but South Africans like Silindile are done talking. Listen to his raw, unfiltered message and decide for yourself. Is this dialogue real, or is it just another trick to silence us? If you've ever felt like your voice doesn't matter, stick around. This is for you.
Good morning, Africa. You know, as South Africans, we like to talk. Talk. The government knows exactly what is needed.
Hold up. Let that sink in. The government knows what needs to be done, but here we are, 30 years later, still waiting. Doesn't that frustrate you? Let me tell you something. I've seen this happen over and over. For years, people have been shouting about the same problems. No jobs, no equality, no real change. Now, after all this time, the ANC suddenly wants to talk. But what's there to talk about? The problems are clear. It's not like we haven't been speaking up. Think about it. If someone ignored you for years and then came back wanting to chat, would you trust them? I wouldn't. It feels like they're just trying to keep us quiet while they avoid fixing things. And honestly, it's tiring. How many times do we have to hear the same promises before we realize nothing will change unless we push for it? Am I right?
30 years down the line, they've lost the power. They're now in 40%. They want a national dialogue. What are you going to dialogue about? They couldn't dialogue while they were still arrogant, while they had the majority, 2/3. Now they want us to dialogue. There's nothing to dialogue about. We all know the problems of this country.
When they had power, they ignored the people. Now that they're losing support, they want to listen. But South Africans aren't buying it. This part hits hard. When you're in power, arrogance kicks in. They didn't care about us when they were strong. But now that they're losing control, suddenly they want to talk. Doesn't that feel fake? Like they're just trying to save themselves? Let me tell you something. I've seen this play out so many times. Leaders wait until they're in trouble, then act like they care. But guess what? We're not falling for it anymore. This isn't about solving problems, it's about saving face. It's like they're saying, talk to us, but don't expect anything to change. How does that make you feel? Are you as frustrated as I am?
With the worst constitution ever, because we are in the most unequal society.
Now this is where it gets real. Talking won't fix inequality. People are hungry, unemployed, and struggling, and politicians are just having meetings. Does that sound like progress to you? Here's the deal. Inequality isn't just numbers on a graph. It's lives being destroyed. Families are suffering while leaders sit around debating. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, the so-called best constitution in the world. That's what they call it, right? The best constitution. But we're living in the most unequal society in the world. How does that even make sense? Let me break it down for you. Imagine you buy a car everyone says is the best in the world. It looks shiny, it sounds fancy, but every time you drive it, it breaks down. Would you keep using it? Of course not. You'd scrap it and get something that actually works. So why do we keep clinging to this constitution if it's clearly failing us? And here's the kicker. South Africa is the only country boasting about this constitution. Not one other country, not even on our own continent, has adopted it. If it was really as great as they claim, wouldn't someone else have copied it by now? Think about it. When something doesn't work, you don't keep doing it just because it looks good on paper. That's common sense. Honestly, there's nothing sacred about South Africa's constitution. It's not set in stone, it's man-made. And if it's producing these results, then it's crap. Plain and simple, we need solutions that actually work, not empty promises wrapped up in fancy language. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I had a friend who swore by this workout plan he found online. He said it was the best thing ever, but after months of following it, he wasn't seeing any results. In fact, he got worse. What did he do? He stopped using it and tried something new. Why? Because when something doesn't deliver, you move on. So why should we treat our constitution any differently?
So there's no dialogue. For me, it doesn't make sense. Whatever Ramaphosa is saying, he must dialogue on his own.
So here's the bottom line. This dialogue feels like another trick to silence us. Ramaphosa keeps talking without saying anything at all. But does anything ever change? Honestly, I don't even remember what he says 10 seconds after he says it. It's all PR, all fake, just more noise without any action. Let me tell you something. Cyril is a master at this. He has mastered the art of looking busy when, in fact, he is doing full call. And I mean that literally. He's turned pretending to be busy into a science. It's all for show, no substance. And it's not just him. We've seen this before. Politicians love to talk because it makes them look busy. But when it comes to actually doing something, crickets, silence, nothing happens. That's exactly what's happening here.
And when you say everybody's going to be included in Africa, believe you me, that's not true. If they go to the townships and try to engage us, it will be just a ticking box exercise, nothing else. They will never listen to us.
These so-called dialogues are just ticking boxes. Another way to make us feel heard while they keep ignoring the real problems. Think about it. If someone kept promising you things but never delivered, how long would you trust them? Not long, right? That's why we have to stop falling for this nonsense. Voting is the only real way to send a message, for now, but perhaps just like our crappy constitution, that too needs to be looked at as well in the future. But if leaders keep ignoring us after we vote, how long will voting even matter? Here's the truth. Politics can feel overwhelming, and sometimes it seems easier to just stay quiet. But staying silent isn't an option. Why? Because if we don't speak up, who will? We owe it to ourselves and to future generations to demand better. And let me say this, I'm tired of hearing empty words. Talk is cheap and we've had enough of it. What we need is action. Real, tangible change. No more speeches by Cyril that disappear into thin air.
The dialogue that we're going to give them is the vote. That's the dialogue.
Let me leave you with this. If you're as frustrated as I am with endless talks that lead nowhere, if you're tired of leaders who look busy but do full call, if you're sick of empty promises and PR stunts designed to silence us, then it's time to stop falling for it. And let me say this, you guys inspire me every day. Your comments, shares, and support remind me why this work matters. So if this video resonated with you, hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so we can keep breaking down these big issues together. I'm done with the noise. I'm done with fake dialogues. What we need is action. Real, tangible change. Not more speeches that disappear into thin air. So here's my challenge to you. If you agree, hit like. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below and tell me what you think. We're stronger when we stand together. And if you haven't already, subscribe so we can keep holding leaders accountable and demanding real change. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.